Hey, what's going on YouTube? Joe here. Hey, today I'm going to be cutting tops for my aquariums, particularly the rack in front of me over here. I'm going to show you in a second. It's cold outside. I don't have a table saw, but I'm going to be cutting these double wall polycarbonate lids. So I'll show you. I got two of them rough cut right now, and let me show you the rack. So this rack is producing a lot of humidity for me right now. So I already cut two tops here. Pretty much here all you want to do, take your measurement on the inside lip. For this one, make it quick. This one's 11 and 5/8 inside. So these ones that I cut were 11 and a half, and they actually turned out a little bit less. So when you're cutting these tops, you want a little bit of wiggle room here. You want them to be pretty tight, but don't go too skimpy on yourself, because it's going to be hard to make a second cut if you need to just shave a little bit off the sides. So anyways, I'm going to get you outside and show you how I cut these tops. So I've already done it for probably 50 or 60 of the aquariums that I own, and I love them. This stuff right here, this is leftover, and I'm not sure if it's 8 mil or 6 mil. I'm going to measure it right after this. And the only stuff I could find at Menards, I'm going to show you that too, is 6 mil. It looks about the same. I love this stuff. This is super light, pretty easy to cut. But they didn't have it. All they had was 6 mil. And I can't remember if this is 8 or 6. So I'm going to let you know here in a second. Alright guys, so I'm back outside. This is the material right on top that I've been using for the whole time. I have in the rest of my fish room, and you can see this is the stuff that I just picked up. So the bottom here definitely has more corrugations than the top, but as far as thickness goes, they sure seem about the same to me. The top might be slightly thicker. So anyways, the bottom is the new stuff. It's what I'm going to be trying out here. I'm sure it'll work fine. It might have a little bit of warping. I can kind of tell, just the way this sheet sits, that it's probably a little bit more flimsy than the stuff that I'm used to. So this is what it is. Multi-light 6mm twin wall polycarbonate multi-wall sheet. So next I'm going to show you guys how I cut it. So real quick here guys, I took all my dimensions. So up top here, these are the 20 gallons, they're all the same. So they're actually 29 and 1/8 inch tops that I need. So what I figured out is these sheets are 48 inches, they're 4 foot by 8 foot. So if I cut those directly in half, I'll have 24 wide. And then I can take the other 5 and 1/8 inch, and I can just cut one sheet at 11 and 3/8, and then just cut those, the extra 5 and 1/8, to make this the full 29 and 1/8. So if I do that, I'll have a full top. I'll have the 24 plus the 5 and 1/8, and that'll save the amount of cuts I have to do. And every side will have a nice rounded edge. So with this stuff, you know, that's one thing I've learned. It makes it really nice if the front is the nice rounded from the factory. It doesn't have these cut corrugations. That stuff can get a lot of grime and build up inside of it. So, and even if you cut it this way, you're still gonna have like an edge there that can be sharp and possibly cut you. So this way I'll have a nice smooth edge for each one of my tops, and one sheet's going to give me 16, but it'll actually be more like 14 or 15, which is plenty because I only need 14 tops. So one sheet, I'll have 14 lids for my 20 gallon longs, and then down here all my 29s are a little bit different. So I got 3 of them at this size. I got 29 and 1/8 is the length dimension for 4 of them. And then the inside dimension, 2 of them are 11 and 5/8, and 2 of them are 11 and a half, just a little bit shorter. So I'm out here in the cold. This is Michigan. And like I said, it's not going to warm up, so time to get this done. Alright, so first I'm going to measure my tops. This is an extra piece I had. I'm going to cut my other two 29s out of this, which makes it a little easier because you don't have to work with a full sheet. It's not as unruly. But let's see. Right now we're going to work on these two, so it'll be 11 and 5/8, two of them, and 29 and 1/8. You don't want to make your mark directly on one of these corrugations here. So 29 and 1/8 would be, I'm going to go right below this corrugation, that line that goes across, and then you can just follow the line. And I mean, this whole thing's going to be straight with these lines, so that makes it pretty easy. I can just do a couple dots, follow the line, and let's see here. And it's nice you can draw on this because this polycarbonate comes with a sheet. It doesn't even look like it right now, but all these scuffs and everything, when this is fully complete, I make all my cuts. I'll peel this off, it'll come out looking really nice. It's just a thin piece of plastic that covers it. So, here's another tool I like to use. Just a straight edge. You can use a T-edge or anything you want, but this little cheap one from Walmart works good for me. So I'm sorry if you can't see everything. I'm holding the phone while I do this work. So I got that lined up, and here, I'm going to put this down so I can make a clean line, because sometimes it's a little difficult to see when you're cutting with the jigsaw. You want to make sure you're staying right on the line. So, alright, there we go. Got a nice straight line. Let's double check it. Yep, 29 and 1/8, right on the line. You can see that. Maybe. I mean, this is all simple stuff. Shouldn't spend too much time on this, it'll just bore you. But 11 and 5/8, I'll make that cut. So let me finish marking this up. I'm going to draw a couple lines straight across, up and down, and then we'll get to cutting this thing. So I got the panel all drawn out. So first I'm going to make a cut here, and then I'm going to make a cut straight up here, and this will actually be my aquarium lid. Now normally you would want your perforations or your actual your lines going the longest direction that you have. So this is opposite right here, but for a 20-gallon long, this is actually going to match the way my other fish room is, because some tanks are turned so you can see the whole thing. These ones are actually turned so you can only see the front side here. So this is a test. Everything in my fish room I'm trying to do once so that I know how to do it and I can help direct people. So just a big science experiment. I think it's going to be fine on these 20 longs. I just wanted to point that out, that normally if you were covering a whole aquarium, you would want your lines to go across, or at least that's been the direction given to me. It always helps. You can do this with one person. You just need a couple of clamps, and you don't want to clamp these things too hard or you'll actually push through. So that's tight enough, just so that it keeps it to whatever surface you're going to be cutting on. You need this to be pretty solid when you're cutting with a jigsaw. So this is the tool I'm going to be using. I got it plugged in. I don't even know if it'll work in the cold. It had a hard time starting up. This thing's so old. You can get it cheaper. You can get another jigsaw that I'm sure has no problems. This thing's probably like 20 or 30 years old, but it works good. The only thing I recommend is the blade on this thing. Make sure it's pretty fine. You want about medium teeth. They make them with smaller teeth. So that's about what you want right there. That seems to cut this stuff really nice. It doesn't melt the plastic, and it looks like a nice cut when it's over. So sorry I couldn't tell you exactly what size teeth those are on this jigsaw blade, but yeah, I clamped down both sides. A couple of these quick grips make work real simple. So I'm just going to clamp it down just so that it won't move on me. It's nice and sturdy. When I start cutting this thing, it's not going to be bouncing all over the place. So, and I also gave myself about a 2-inch lip on the side so I make sure I don't cut into the table. So just a couple things to be aware of. So pretty simple. Now I'm just going to have my wife record if I can get that thing started since it's so cold out. And yeah, I say started like it's a gas-powered machine or something, but I don't know. It had a hard time. I think the motor's starting to go on it. And I'll show you just how I cut it. It's super simple. You just start on one side, make sure you're at full power. If you have a button to lock the blade on so it's constantly reciprocating, that seems to help also. If you start, stop, you're not going to get the cleanest, best cut. It takes a couple tries. Don't get discouraged. Like I said, I've cut probably 50, 60 tops already for my basement. So. And if it doesn't turn out perfect, you can always take a utility knife and kind of clean up if you start going off a little bit, and then you came back in and the top doesn't fit just right. Oh, that's nice. I just cut my marker with my finger. Just got into that. But utility knife does work. It's just more difficult. Doesn't seem to... I think it's more dangerous too, honestly. I did not enjoy using the utility knife. So this is my choice. If I had a table saw, I would probably use it. So, all right, I'll be right back. So yeah, it is a little loud. Hearing protection wouldn't be a bad idea if you're doing this. But yeah, pretty clean cut, and it makes, with that size teeth, it makes some burrs that just come right off, little pieces of plastic. So yeah, not too bad. And a can of compressed air also comes in handy when you do the cuts against the corrugation. You sometimes get these burrs and little pieces of plastic inside, and a can of compressed air will just blow them right through. There we go. Sometimes it puts the little plastic shavings like that, but like I said, once you peel the plastic off, a lot of that'll come off, and a can of compressed air, or actually just blowing through the corrugations, will get all those little pieces out of there. So let's go over safety real quick. These are a must. You don't want those little pieces of plastic flying up, hitting you in the eye. Highly recommend ear protection. Get some earplugs. And some leather gloves, cut resistant, would not be a bad idea. But make sure you're careful. I mean, that blade could definitely... I know people have cut off fingers using reciprocating saws, so just be extra careful. So I'm running out of light here, guys, but these are going to be my last two cuts. So this will be the piece. I'll drill a hole up here, That'll be for the auto water change, and this will be for the air lines going to my filters. So I'm just going to use the reciprocating saw to cut straight down, and then you can't cut across like this in between, so I'm just going to use a utility knife for that. Super easy on a small cut like this. Just after you cut the two cuts with the reciprocating saw, you just stick the utility knife blade in there and just press down. It'll cut through there, and that'll be plenty of room for the airline tubing that I'm using. And then, yeah, just straight across. I'm going to do this for the other 3 tops that I already have cut. So I got the other cuts made. So I'm just going to try to show you here one-handed. Disregard the dirty laundry. I'm back downstairs. So yeah, basically just a utility knife. This takes so much longer to make a YouTube video. So yeah, see, it just cuts basically like butter. And then that just pops right out. And there you go, nice little hole to put airline tubing. So I made the other cuts with the reciprocating saw like I told you. So super simple. On to the next step. Alright, I had to wait for my daughter for the next part of the video because it's her favorite part. Alright, we're going to peel it. Let's see if you can't get it started. There you go. Alright. Both sides. So they both have a layer of film on them. So I got all 4 of them cut. Is that one coming? And I fit them. I made sure that they fit nice, not too snug, because you'll be fighting those if, there we go. There. See how nice that comes out? So there's a few little plastic pieces in there. I'm just going to blow. So there, you can blow those little pieces right out of there. Compressed air works really good to get inside those grooves. And then that'll just dry all the heat from my breath. So yeah, should have 4 nice new tops here. We're going to keep peeling all these. And once we get them all peeled, we'll put the handles on. So I've done a couple different kinds of handles. Whoops. I started with these type. I do like them. The problem is when you buy them from the store, the screws that come with them are a little bit too long. You need them to only be, you know, the width of this board, and they come there about yay long. So you either have to go buy new screws, which are not always easy to find at the hardware store. Not screws, bolts that have the right threads to go into these. Or you can take the existing ones that come with the handles and you can cut them down with a Dremel tool. Now that's kind of a pain. Make sure you're wearing glasses for that, because you're going to use a vise to get a hold of the screw, and then you're going to cut it at whatever length you want. And that extra piece, when you cut it with the Dremel tool with just a metal cutting blade, it's actually a rotating disc, is going to go shooting off somewhere. So don't do it in your fish room. You might crack a tank or something. But anyways, these are a little bit more work. You just drill through the polycarbonate, push the screw in, and then you can screw the handle right to the lid. So those work fine. They're just a little bit more work. I am trying these out today. These are going to be the multi-hooks, command hooks, and I'll show you how I put one on. Okay, good job. Alright. So I went ahead and marked where I want these command hooks. So you'll get a better seal if you pop the back off of these things. So I just push down, and then you actually take the sticky part and put it on this, and then press firmly where you want it, and then you can attach the command hook back on, because this will be firmly attached to it. You can press better that way than if you were trying to leave this attached to the hook and then try to press down. I mean, that would probably work, but I'm going to do it this way. So another little tip, you can mark one of these poly sheets if you're doing multiples. So I just marked this bottom one where I want to start this piece. So that'll show me where to put that. And then when I attach the command hook, it'll be centered in the middle. And then you can just layer the other ones on top. You can do that while you're tracing lines or anything, and pretty simple, but it's a big time saver. And then just mark the one from what you can see on the bottom. So I got all 4 of them marked, so I'm going to put the command hooks on here. So that's why they say to remove this piece and then press firmly. So you can really press down on it, make sure it's a real good adhesive connection. So there, that should not be coming off of that top. And now I can take the hook, hopefully. There we go. Snap it right on. Handle should never come off, I hope. And there we go. It's pretty solid. Pick it up and swing it around. I like it. Alright, one last thing I'm going to try to do here. And I bought this tape. I have never done this before, but it says Max Strength Packing Tape. It looks pretty clear. So with the help of my wife, I'm going to try to run that packing tape along all edges of this where water could get in between this corrugation. So I'm going to run it along this side, and then I'm going to try right now to seal up these edges too, where the airline tubing goes, because they do get kind of cruddy and nasty. This is probably going overboard. These tanks have been set up for probably 8 months now, and you can see some build up. They get a little bit junky, especially where the 2 lids combine. A lot of water moisture gets up in there. Now this one's particularly algae filled because it's lighted quite often. But I'm going to try it. Maybe these will last for 10 plus years if I add this packaging tape. So we'll see. Hey YouTube, I'm back. Finished up those 4 tops, and I'm pretty happy with the result. So let me show them to you here. So these are them. So what I ended up doing was actually using that tape. That took quite a bit of time, but I think it looks pretty good. And I think it's going to hold up. So we'll see. Taped all the edges. One of the hardest parts to tape were these back pieces. So let me grab one of these. So not perfect, but it should keep the water out of these corrugations. And then I taped the sides on these ones too. So took a little bit of extra time, but I think in the long run it's going to save time and it's going to keep the fish room looking better. So they all fit perfect with that tape. Once I put that back piece back on, they'll be good, but I can just come through, lift these up, feed the fish. It's real easy. If you got a cup of food in one hand and you're feeding them, you can just pick that up and still hold on to your cup and then put the food in. So I like the command hooks. They're a big time saver. So, and then if I ever need to maintenance the tank, I can just pull these off, throw them to the side. That's what I like, super lightweight. Grab them with the command hook, throw them back on. Hopefully I gave you some ideas. And 4 down. What do I got here? 7 plus 7, 14, 15, 16, 17 more to go. So I'm sure it'll go faster once I, start really getting going on these, but so far I'm happy. I got 4 of them done. That's that much less humidity and water loss in the room. So hopefully you learned something. Let me know what you think. Let me know how to improve these videos, and yeah, hopefully this is an improved version of the double wall polycarbonate tops that other people have also done videos on YouTube. So that is how I do it, start to finish. Alright, if you guys stuck around to the end of this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Any thumbs up will help my channel immensely. It'll help me, motivate me to make more of these videos for you guys. And you can imagine, with 70 tanks, working a full-time job, and having 2 young kids, how much free time I have towards these activities. So I enjoy doing this stuff for you guys. Can't wait to hear from you. This is one of the future projects. Can't wait to get started on this RODI. So talk to you guys later. Bye.